Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're back in Snapshot 24w44a, as this is the first snapshot for the Minecraft 1.21.4 update, the winter drop. First of all, the first change is you can see the menu panorama has now changed to be the pale gardens to match with the Creaking update. And also with this, if you go to create a new world, if you are inside this snapshot, there is no longer a experimental toggle for the winter drop, as this is the snapshot cycle for that update. So the features will be enabled by default. And quickly just covering it, you can see here Minecraft do confirm this is the first snapshot for the cycle at 1.21.4. The Creaking in the Pale Gardens is not Minecraft 1.22. So let's cover what is new within this snapshot. Although most of the features we have seen in this snapshot were in Bedrock Edition and I did cover them last week, but we're going to go over them again just because the Java is way easier, and you can see there's already new particles. The pale leaves now let off a particle. So I've just checked the patch notes and they have a chance to let off leaf particles. So is there a block tag for this? Persistent, distance. So it seems like it's not a block state. So if I was to place down leaves on my own, will they have a chance to let off the leaf particles as well? So do they act like cherry leaves? Or yes, they do. That's really cool. I like that. And it's not as in your face as cherry leaves, which I also do like. This just adds so much more to the biome as well. Just walking through, having the leaves full just makes the biome feel way more alive. But let's cover some of the new features before we cover some of the tweaks, because there are a lot of changes to the Pale Gardens. So the first thing that we will see is Minecraft have added the two new flowers, which is the Eye Blossom. Now, I did get confused in the Bedrock video and I did say Eye Bloom. They are called the Eye Blossoms. Now, we haven't found any here that have naturally generated, and this is definitely a generated biome. You are meant to be able to get them from bone mealing. Yes, here we go. So with bone mealed, and you can see we have the Eye Blossom, and this is the closed variant. If it was to become nighttime, this flower will open. They work exactly the same as Bedrock Edition. One thing I forgot to mention in Bedrock, they will poison bees if you feed them to the bee, although the bee will follow you if you are holding them. And one other change they have also made is if you feed a bee a wither rose, it will now wither the bee. So bees will no longer breed with wither roses, and they also won't breed with eye blossoms, although they will follow the player if you are holding them. And if we quickly just sell it to nighttime, these flowers will open. I think you can't be looking at them for them to open, although I'm not 100% sure if that is correct. Let's just spam quite a few of them. And there is also a particle. Oh, okay, there we go. You can see that they all do open. And they do let off a particle when they open, which you did see for a split second. If we quickly just wait a second, you'll see that they will open again. It also doesn't seem like it matters if a player is looking at them or not, because they all opened even though I was looking at them. Yes, as you can see, they are opening even though I'm looking at them. Now, a question I have is, does bees get poisoned by going in the block? They do. That's interesting, but the player doesn't. They can also be put in a crafting table for dye. Closed ones will give grey dye, and the open version will give orange dye. They did also have a sound effect that played when they opened and closed. So let's quickly just listen for that sound effect again. Is the fact that in the patch notes they mention them communicating with each other. And it seems like that works a lot better in Java, because if one of them opens, then all the flowers around will start opening or closing depending. So it seems like the communicating works a lot better in Java. And they do also have a custom sound effect, which I like, which you can hear right there. And now let's jump into the biome. You can see the flowers are here because we want ourselves a Creaking, because resin is also added. So if I punch this Creaking a few times and let's find its heart, you can see that resin has been generated. And if I quickly just pick this up, you can see we have a resin clump, which when placed down works like a block overlay, so it works like vines or glow lichen, although it doesn't emit light. And this is also a insta break, so you can break it just by punching it with any tool, even your fist. Now, one thing I do quickly want to try is let's quickly just break this. You can see we got a Creaking heart, and it did also give us some experience, which is interesting. And if I break it with non-silk touch, you can see we get some resin from it, which is interesting as well. So one other change with the Pale Gardens is they have made it so the biome has no music. So the only ambient you hear is from the biome itself. So for example, the vines that give off an ambient, and also the Creaking heart. Now, if you have music playing when you enter the biome, I'm not exactly sure if this is going to work with a jukebox, but we're going to try it. Let's just play Pig Step, for example. So if I enter the biome, yes, the music is fading, but I think that's... No, it's not fading. So it seems like it's just ambient music, not jukebox music and things like that. So if you have ambient music playing from other biomes and you enter this biome, the music will slowly fade out the more you go into the biome. Let's quickly talk about some changes to the Creaking Heart. Naturally placed Creaking Hearts will drop 20 to 24 experience. This is experience points, not levels, when broken by a player with or without Silk Touch. So these are now a source of experience. Crafted hearts will not drop the experience, it's only ones naturally placed by world generation. And also breaking a Creaking Heart will now drop 1 to 3 resin clumps when it's broken with no Silk Touch, and this is affected by fortune. Now they've also made a change to the pale oak trees grown by a player. So if I quickly just grab some pale oak and then grab some bone meal, when you grow these trees, they will now grow without any vegetation. So this means that the moss at the bottom and also the vines, which is interesting. Now, a few other changes is the wandering trader will now be able to sell the eye blossom, the hanging moss, and also the pale oak sapling. So when you've come across these, you can now find them selling some resources from the Pale Gardens. They've also made another change to Hanging Moss. This is now an insta-break, so when you punch it, it will instantly be destroyed. And this requires Shears or Silk Touch to be picked up. You cannot pick it up just by breaking it with your fist. They have also buffed the Creaking's damage. So if I quickly just go inside of survival mode and set the time to night, a Creaking that spawns now does 1.5 damage. I think before it would do 1 heart or half a heart. So if I now go in survival mode and let this Creaking hit me, you can see it now does 1.5 hearts. And Minecraft have also mentioned in the patch notes that Illagers are scared of the Creaking. So any Illager, Pillagers, Vindicators, Evokers, Ravagers will now flee from a Creaking. Minecraft have also made some changes to how Creakings react to damage. So Creaking reacts only to damage caused by mobs and projectiles by swaying in place. And if we quickly just find the Creaking, which should be here somewhere, we definitely did have one, here we go. If we punch the Creaking, it should sway in place, although it's not. Let's maybe quickly just grab like a projectile, so a bow. Or even let's grab a trident, and if I throw it, it doesn't seem like it... Yes, there we go, it just sways in place. And it does also say the Creaking has a twitching animation, which I'm not exactly sure when that is played. But some other changes that they have made is the Creaking ignores cactus, sweet berries, and powdered snow damage, and they can walk straight over or through these now. And the Creaking has a twitching animation. That's all that's mentioned about the twitching animation. Ah, there we go. So it seems like it just randomly plays while it's idle or walking, because you can see its head is twitching right now. And then some final changes they've made to the Creaking. The Creaking is now fire resistant, so any fire damage won't be affected. The Creaking Heart decides to remove or replace the Creaking when certain conditions apply, and it turns daytime. The Creaking is too far from the Creaking Heart, or a player intersects with the Creaking for a few seconds. So this was to fix a bug where if the Creaking was in a hole, so let's quickly just make it so the Creaking is within a hole. So the bug here was if the Creaking was in a 1x1 hole, so let's quickly just try and make this happen. And then the player was to jump in there, you couldn't do anything inside of survival mode. As you can see, I cannot break blocks. Well, the game will now kill the Creaking to avoid using the Creaking in traps. Before we jump to the resin, which we are going to cover, Minecraft have got quite a lot of technical changes, which I'm not going to cover because I don't want this video to be ages. But they've got some changes to the trail particle, which is the one used when you punch a Creaking. The simple block now has some changes as well. And there's also some changes to the biome music, which you can see right here. I will have the patch notes linked in the description. There are also some changes to the attribute command. It seems like suggestions will now be shown for modifiers. And then there are also some resource pack changes, mainly adding the new textures for the resin and things like that. Then it does also seem like there are changes to some other things, which you can see right here. Once again, we're not going to cover. And once again, some bug fixes, or quite a lot of bug fixes, should I say. So resin is a new item that can be obtained when you punch a Creaking. It will place it around the Creaking Heart, and you can break this resin with your fist. Now, one thing I do want to try, just like I tried in Bedrock Edition, can you break this staff with a piston? And does it drop the item if it is broken with a piston? So let's quickly just try that and power it. And it does, so you can use pistons to farm this stuff. Now this resin can be crafted into a few different things. You can throw it in a furnace to get resin bricks. And you can also throw it in a crafting table to get blocks of resin. And just looking at all the resources, you can see it comes in a block form, a brick form, then the brick comes in slab, stairs and walls. And then there is also a chiseled form. Let's quickly just go to daytime as well so we can see these blocks in daytime. Now the brick is crafted from 4 resin bricks, which resin bricks are just gotten from resin clumps into a furnace. And this is what they look like. They are just orange versions. They go quite well with a few different orange blocks. One Minecraft did post is shroom lights. They go quite well with shroom lights because of obviously the blending between the two. Let's talk about some good things you need to know about resin. So attacking a creaking will cause its creaking heart to extrude 2 to 3 resin clumps. So every time you punch it, it will spawn about 2 or 3 resin. Resin clumps spawn on the sides of pale oak logs that are close and are connected to the creaking heart. So you can see it will spawn on any of the ones that are connected. So I don't think it will be able to spawn on this block, or will it be able to spawn on this block. The creaking heart is on cooldown and cannot produce more resin clumps for 5 seconds after attack. So when you punch a creaking, there is a 5-second cooldown before it can be punched again to produce more resin. Resin can also be found in Woodland Mansion chests, and apparently it can also be found on wandering traders, which I haven't come across. So it must be kind of rare for these guys to sell it, but there apparently is a chance they can sell it. And one other thing I think I'd mention is resin can be insta-broke with your fist. This doesn't apply to bricks or the chiseled form, it only applies to the normal form, which can be insta-broke with your fist, which is kind of a cool block. One other thing I am going to quickly mention is you can use the resin clumps in smithing armor. So if we quickly just grab some diamond armor, we can now trim it with an orange color. And I know there is copper, but the resin has a lot brighter and vibrant orange than copper does. So there we go. This is what resin looks like on armor trims. And this is the final thing I'm going to show. If you did enjoy, do like and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you guys in another one very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.